What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the F124 Ferrari driver career mode. We're back today for round 3 down under in Australia. And it looks like qualifying, we are in for some rain near the end of qualifying. So that is going to be exciting. So right now we're still the third fastest car, but we are right on par with McLaren. And we have a few developments coming through. Should be coming through for one of the next rounds. So currently we sit 4th in the driver's standings. And constructor's standings, we have 44 points, and we're 6 points behind McLaren. So that puts us in 2nd. So I'm going to jump into practice and get my setup all optimized and make sure I'm comfortable with the car, and then we'll go straight to qualifying. Well, here we go then. Ready to start our first flying lap of qualifying, and the car feels pretty good. Actually, really good around this track. Feels better in the traction zones. It's just the curbs have been catching me out in practice, so hopefully those won't be a problem. But yeah, I think we could get this car on one of the front 2 rows. Alright, well that lap was good enough to put us P3, and we have the fastest middle sector with that lap. So we're a little under a tenth off of Max Verstappen in first right now. And our teammate right now is last. He is down in 20th with a 125, so that is 6.5 seconds off the pace. Let's see. His first sector looked pretty quick, and so did his second. His third sector, I don't know if he had a lockup or if he was held up in traffic, but he's going to have to go out at the end of the session and make sure he can get through to Q2. And it looks like Perez is up high enough this weekend. Could we see him get out of Q1 for the first time this season? That's pretty crazy to say in that Red Bull. Right, well, here at the end of Q1, Verstappen is quickest. We stay third. Sergio Perez does make it through, as does Daniel Ricciardo and Yuki Tsunoda, as well as Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas. So out in Q1 is Logan Sargent, both of the Kick Sauber cars, Esteban Ocon and Kevin Magnussen. So Leclerc down in 11th as well. I think the rain is just starting to fall, as you can see in the background there, so obviously he's going to set a little slower lap, but he's lucky it didn't come earlier, else he'd be out in Q1. Well, here we are, and at the start of Q2, it has started to rain, so the line will be a bit greasy, as you can see, just kind of sliding there. So we're going to try to set as quick a lap as possible, because it is still dry tires on the track. I'm not sure if this rain will get heavier, but I don't know how much longer it'll stay dry tires. But we're going to see what kind of lap we can set in these changeable conditions, and hopefully have the right track position and track conditions to be able to get the advantage on the other drivers. To be third right now, so we are third with a 119.5, so we can go quicker. I think we could find a few tenths there on that lap, but I wonder if it is going to switch to intermediates as we move on to Q3. Well, here we go. That's qualifying 2, and done and dusted. Let's see here. We have Sergio Perez out, both of the V-Carbs out, as well as Nico Hülkenberg in the Haas and Alex Albon in the Williams, but Pierre Gasly making it through, just about squeezing through by 10 milliseconds from Sergio Perez. So will Perez keep that seat next year? Obviously, he signed a 2-year deal with Red Bull in real life, but I'm not sure that's how it's going to go in this career mode. But let's see what we can do into Q3. Let's shoot for the front row. Start our first flying lap of Q3 and just try to set a decent banker lap. See what we can do. Very, very slippery out here. I just have to stay on the line. A new feature with F1 2024 is that we've got a dry line forming on the racing line itself and more realistic changeable conditions. They showcased that. So going offline, there will be more standing water where it hasn't been cleared. So I've been waiting for that feature for a long time. So let's see what we can do here. Go, Oscar Piastri goes quickest with a 120.6. Let's see what we will do as we go up to the line. Only gonna be 7th fastest for us, so clearly not the greatest in these conditions. But that is only our first run. We will have a second chance unless it rains more, so I might go out a little bit early. Alright, I'm here ready to start my final lap of Q3, a final chance to try to get up into the top 5 at least. I know this car is capable of it, but am I capable of it? Let's find out.
Okay, so this light rain is going to be with us for a while now.
Well, wasn't able to improve on this lap as I just get onto the grass there, so that's going to be P10. So, heartbreak for us. That was not a very good lap for myself. I'm not the greatest in these kinds of conditions, but, I mean, that was just such a scruffy lap.
With qualifying complete, all that remains is the main event. We'll be live and uninterrupted for the Grand Prix tomorrow, so make sure you join us then.
Well, would you look at that? Oscar Piastri in the McLaren on pole for the first time in his career and at his home race by 3/10 from his own teammate. That must feel so good for Oscar. He's going to be shooting for the win tomorrow. Max Verstappen down in third with Lewis Hamilton in fourth, and then our teammate Charles Leclerc in fifth. Then we have Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin out qualifying his teammate Fernando Alonso down in eighth, with George Russell in the Mercedes splitting the two Aston Martins. Pierre Gasly down in ninth. And then we are down in 10th with a 121.7. So we are still 3/10 off of an Alpine. But we're going to have a dry race tomorrow. I seem to be quicker in the dry. So hopefully we'll be able to make up some positions and not make any mistakes. Let's just keep our nose clean, get our heads down, and let's do this thing.
Few places embrace Formula One like Melbourne. It is a truly brilliant sentence to say. Welcome to the Australian Grand Prix. It's Albert Park Circuit, 3.2 miles of bumpy city streets. We have changed the turns at 1, 3, 6 and 13. They have all been widened. We've got rid of the chicane at 9 and 10. That is now a flat-out right-hander. It's a new look that made its debut in 2022, new life into an old classic. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. Oscar Piastri lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Verstappen, Hamilton, Leclerc, Stroll, Russell, Fernando Alonso, Gasly, Mr. Monaco, Perez, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Albon, Magnussen, Ocon, Bottas, Joe, and Logan Sargent. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Hello everyone, I'm Alex Jakes. Joining me for this one, a real authority on all things four-wheel, Naomi Schiff, is alongside me. Well, you never like to be brutal, but it's not been a good time of it behind the wheel. How does the driver turn the page there? Now, those final hours before a race, did you have a routine?
Well, every driver certainly has their own way of preparing themselves before a race, but I can tell you that pre-race rituals are a real thing. When I was in go-karting, I used to touch every wheel in a specific sequence before I got into the kart. And then I stepped up to cars and had a specific set of fireproof base layers just for race day. So watch the drivers when they're on the grid. Some may be sitting on the floor and isolating, others may be up to other things that they do. But these little things really help their minds get ready for the race.
Right, mate, I think we both know last race just wasn't good enough, so we need to see an improvement in your performance today. Come on.
Well, Mark there is so right. We had a horrible race last time, but we're going to turn things around here today in Albert Park, Australia. So the team think a one-stop is possible from mediums to hards. So I think we'll go with that, and let's start the formation lap, and hopefully we can get a good run off the line. Well, here we go. We are ready to line up in our grid spot down in 10th position for the Australian Grand Prix. I've got my tires heated up, not quite to where I like them, but close enough anyway. So we are going to park it up.
Okay, incredible parking there. Nice one. That's going to give you the edge if you can get a good launch as the race starts.
Here we go.
Okay.
Green flag waves, 5 red lights, and it is lights out, and away we go for the Australian Grand Prix. And we don't get the greatest of starts. We're going to get passed by Yuki Tsunoda, that is, in the RB car. So we're going to go down the inside, a little bit of contact there with Yuki Tsunoda, and we are just losing so many places. We have no grip off the start, so we just nudged the wall there. Starts were my specialty in F123 as we go down the inside of Alex Albon and the Williams. He's just going to squeeze us out, but F124, not the best game for my starts. I've kind of had to warp my the way I start now, especially with how the traction is. But right now, I'm glad I kept out of trouble. I'd rather be down in 13th with no damage than up in 8th with front wing end plate missing or something like that. So we're going to head down towards this high-speed chicane here. It can be a very scary corner. If you can't take it right. And now we're just going to try to settle in for a rhythm, and we will start making moves very soon. As the two Hasses are behind me battling there. And there are.
We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
Well, DRS is now enabled. And Max Verstappen, it is Max Verstappen who leads at the end of lap 1. So, wow, surprised that but neither McLarens could keep him back. But that's Max Verstappen for you. So we are running in a lot of dirty air right now, and our tires will be screaming at me. So I need to clear these cars quickly. We do have the most powerful engine, and this car is very, very quick in a straight line in this track, at least. As Alex Albon there ahead, just harvesting a little bit of energy. As I go very deep into the chicane there. And that put us all out of shape. So we're just going to try to start making some moves, as I said. It's going to be crucial to getting up and scoring a good haul of points. And performance is crucial because we will have to have that in order to re-sign for Ferrari. We don't just get a free pass. That's how the F1 games work. You have to keep constantly performing and stay consistent with your results to keep your seat, especially at a top team in these career modes. But I'm just going to settle in and get into a rhythm. Well, here we go. We got a very good exit out of this chicane. Can we get a run on Alex Albon? He's going to try to force us to the inside as Perez and Gasly go side by side. We make a little bit of contact there as I was just watching Perez and Gasly fighting instead of focusing on my own battle. And that has definitely cost us. So I'm just trying to wrestle this car out of the past or the last few corners. As that was close, but we know we can get past. We are very, very close to Alexander Albon this time around, as I just don't want to pull the George Russell there. So we're going to just drain all the battery and see if I can get past him. He's going to squeeze me to the inside onto the grass. You got to give me... What was that, Alex? You got to give me more room than that, as I'm going to have the inside for the chicane. And that will be a pass for 12th position. What was that from Alex Albon? You got to give me a little more room than that. So there's a lock up ahead from one of the drivers. So once again, I'm just wrestling this car through the final few corners. You got to be so patient with this final corner to get the throttle all the way down. Now, can we have a run of it on Yuki Tsunoda? Not so sure, but Perez is now ahead of Pierre Gasly. Whoa! Big moment there, as we're going to defend from Alex Albon. Now here he comes. He's going to try to go around the outside, but that's not going to work. We're going to force him out. And I can't be making too many mistakes like that if we want to get into the points. We are very close to Yuki Tsunoda. Team just telling me that the engine is a bit hot, as we're going to have the outside line. But he is going to brake just that little bit later. I didn't want to go into the back of the Alpine car there. But if I could just stay with him through here, I'm not going to have enough battery, I think, to get past him down the straight. But it might as well be worth a shot. I'm going to try to get the power down. But yeah, he gets a better exit, and we need to spend this lap harvesting some battery. Yeah, we got a good run of it on Yuki Tsunoda. Can we get around the outside of him if we tuck back into the slipstream up the inside of the high-speed chicane? Whoa! I didn't think he was going to give me the room there as we force him to back out. And that was a very, very scary move. But I'm glad we got it done, because that is up to 11. So we're on the outskirts of the points. So we go a little bit deep into there, just getting a wheel on the grass. So now we need to focus on ahead. And maybe we can try to stay with Sergio Perez and follow him through these cars. But our target is definitely, I'm hoping for top 5 today, but the gap might just be too big for that. We are very close coming down the straight. We're going to get alongside him before we even get to the DRS zone, and we are going to be past, maybe, before the chicane. I don't know, but here comes Lance Stroll on Sergio Perez. Old teammates, of course, from 2019 and 2020 at Racing Point, and now they are fighting, but here comes Yuki Tsunoda back on me. He's going to try to go down the inside. Is he going to have it? No. I'm not going to let him. Or that's not Yuki Tsunoda. It's Pierre Gasly. I'm sorry. Excuse me. That was very close. I was so stressed I could hardly commentate myself. But just the fact that Perez is not pulling away from Stroll right now is, I think, a clear sign that Red Bull need a different driver in that second seat. The fact that he has not made Q3 for 3 weekends in a row, and his teammate is winning races, is just very, very disappointing for Sergio Perez. Once he gets on a bad run of form, it's hard for him to stop it. Oh, Stroll got past Perez. Oh, I didn't even see that. Apologies for that. He must have got around the outside during the chicane. I wasn't paying attention. I was focusing on my apexes. But we're going to go a little deep into that penultimate corner and now into the final corner. Perez and Stroll, hopefully they will battle. That will give us a chance to have a shot at one of them. Yeah, Perez is going to go down the inside. Stroll's going to force him to go even further, and that makes Perez back out. But now, will that give us the advantage with a better exit and DRS down towards turn 3? We're going to switch to the inside, be a little bit later on the brakes, make sure not to lock up. And that is us up into P9 of this race, ahead of Sergio Perez. So my next target, obviously, is Lance Stroll. And then I need to get up the road and start closing this 5-second gap to the cars ahead. Because there's a big train up there. Not if I take a line like that. So here comes Perez. He's going to try to get alongside me, but I'm not going to let that happen. Just going to block any safe line he could take. And now could I have a run of it on Lance Stroll down towards this corner here. We're going to go to the inside and force him off of the racing line. We have managed to get the gap down to 1.2 seconds to the cars in front because they've been fighting for this entire lap and a lap before. So hopefully that will allow us to start making some moves. As Norris has dropped back massively, so I don't know what's going on there. Maybe he had a little lockup or a mistake or something. So this three-way fight here, would you look at that? So we're just going to try to pick up the pieces, maybe sneak up the inside of Russell at some point. Russell running behind Alonso going into this corner. We all know what happened there this year on the final lap of the race. But now let's see if we can get a run out of the high-speed chicane on one of these drivers. So Alonso is going to go side by side with Lando Norris through there. Great move from him. It doesn't look like we're going to have enough. Getting very close to the Mercedes here, so this train is starting to form, and we're dropping back from the cars ahead, which is not what I need. But team wants us to box at the end of this lap that we're starting now. But I'm wondering if I should have just come in then and maybe gone for the undercut.
Box, we're coming in this lap. Gap to your teammate ahead, 3.9 seconds.
Ooh, a little bit of contact with Russell there, but we are going to get alongside him. We're going to force him out wide, and I think there was a little bit of contact there. That was my fault. But he's still going to try to stick the nose up the inside. We're going to force him out and make sure that we take the position from him up into 7th place. Now next is the McLaren man, Lando Norris. Started 2nd. He's currently running 6th. Well, this pit lane can be very, very tight since we're flat out up towards the speed limit line. So it looks like both the cars ahead are coming in, but George Russell behind us staying out. So we need to make sure we get the car nice and slow. Don't want to get a penalty. And now let's see what we can do as race leader Max Verstappen's in the pit lane as well. Oh.
Let's try and put that behind us though and finish this race strong.
Issue in the pit lane. Damn. So now that is going to put us down into 15th once we exit the pits. I'm not sure. I think Alonso was jumped in the pit lane, but I'm not sure if we lost any actual positions. Maybe cars behind could be passing, but hopefully that didn't cost us any track position. We've had nice clean pit stops this year so far. I think that was our first mistake that the pit crew have done, but now these tires are far grippier and they're gonna just stick to the track. As this car has so much downforce around this track. As we have an engine failure. Engine problem. We have a mechanical failure, and in classic Ferrari style, we are going to be retiring from the Grand Prix. We pull over off to the left-hand side. Absolute heartbreak for us. I cannot even believe that just happened. I am just... wow. We had an actual shot at finishing on the podium, or at least the top 5. But once again, we are going to have a pointless race.
A great race then, and a fantastic victory here at Albert Park.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. It's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time? Be sure to join us again as we continue to bring you the latest excitement in Formula One.
Well, there it is. The end of the race. Max Verstappen taking the win with the fastest lap. 7 seconds from Lando Norris finishing second. Would you look at that? And Lewis Hamilton down in third with pole sitter Oscar Piastri now even finishing on the podium for his home race. Leclerc's going to come home in 7th, so we only get 6 points. So Sergio Perez managed to recover to 5th. What a disastrous race for us. I mean, honestly. I mean, George Russell ended up DNFing too, it looks like. I'm not sure what happened there. But, yeah, that came out of literally nowhere. There was no signs or anything that the car had anything wrong with it, but that's racing sometimes. So where are we in the standings now? 5th in the standings we are with 26 points, but it's very tight from 3rd all the way down to 8th, as that's where our teammate is, equal on points with Fernando Alonso. So we need to start scoring again. We need to start finishing on the podium and winning some more races. As that drags us down to 4th in the constructors' standings, 30 points behind McLaren, who now lead the way up front. 30 points is a lot to make up. So, season is long, but we cannot keep having mechanical DNFs like that. We cannot afford to make mistakes like we did in Jeddah. We have to stay focused and make sure that we are bringing home these podiums and these race wins. And I know Charles will do his part. So, it's up to us now. No one else to blame, except for that mechanical failure. That wasn't my fault. Now, that I am annoyed about. But that's racing sometimes. You got to accept it. Move on. And, yeah. I'll see you guys at the next race in Japan around the beautiful Suzuka International Circuit.